Okay. Welcome to the virtual day of the NC Live Annual Conference. We are excited to have you join us online. You are in the Lightning Talk session. If you are looking for a different virtual session, you can find Zoom links on SCED and on the conference website. My name is Cheryl Shiraz, and I am the moderator for this session. I want to share a few things before we begin. At NC Live events, we value the presence and active participation of all attendees. By joining us, you agree to uphold the principles of our Code of Conduct, which can be found on our website. I will add the link in our chat. Let me copy that. Oh, thank you, Claire. You already did it. In the interest of time, we will save Q&A for all presenters for the end of the session. If you have a question, you may put it in the Q&A box, which can be found in your Zoom toolbar at the bottom of the screen. I will be monitoring the Q&A and the chat in case anyone needs assistance. Please make sure that you stay muted during the presentation. This session is also being recorded. The presenter slides will be posted after the conference if you would like to access them later. Now, I am pleased to introduce our first presentation, Books and Blocks, Campus Childcare and University Library Unite for Student Parent Success by Mark Sanders. Mark Sanders is a professor and the Assistant Director for Public Services at East Carolina University's Joyner Library. He holds a BA from UNC Asheville, an MA from Penn State University, an MLS from UNC Chapel Hill, and a graduate certificate in Student Affairs and Higher Education from ECU. His professional interests include learning spaces, access services, and financial planning. Okay, take it away, Mark.
All right, thank you, Cheryl. I'll share my PowerPoint presentation now. Hope everyone can see that. Can I get a thumbs up? If you can
We
that?
can. Okay.
Great. Okay. Oh, sorry. So, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming today. My name is Mark Sanders. Yes.
Sorry, we can't see it after all.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I thought that we could at first, but we can't.
Huh.
There we go. There we go.
Okay. Let me. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks for coming today, everyone. I want to talk about our family-friendly room and our partnership with ECU's Campus Childcare today. I'll start with a little backstory or history. In 2022, at the very beginning of the year in January, kind of at the same time, our director approached me about creating a sensory space or a neurodivergent friendly space in the library at the same time that a couple of honors college students also approached me inquiring about a space in the library for neurodivergent students. And my response initially was, this sounds like a wonderful idea. I would love to support something like this, but it didn't quite rise to a priority in my mind until I started having some more discussions with them, with the director. And then I began to understand that just because a sensory space or a neurodivergent friendly space existed for certain audiences doesn't mean it can't be used by all. And this kind of gets into a tenet of universal design. I started seeing this, that we have 80 study rooms in the library, and they're all exactly the same. They have a table and they're surrounded by task chairs, but there's nowhere in the library that students had available or could go to study that, for instance, had lower seating on the floor in a beanbag, or that had some elements like adjustable lighting, adjustable curtains, as you can see. So when I started thinking about this space, sensory space, as an alternative sort of space, alternative to a study room, then it really sort of, it really clicked in my mind, and was something that we pursued, and we opened the following fall semester in August of 2022. And you can see it here in this slide. This was one of our largest study rooms at the time. And so we, with our friends of the library support, We purchased some new furnishings, and then we also mixed in some from other areas of the library that weren't quite as successful. So for instance, you can see those gray chairs there. They were in the middle of a very, very large room, and it was the last place that people would go to because no one wants to sit on the floor in the middle of a large open space. However, in this sort of smaller enclosed space, it made perfect sense. And so this was very successful, and it actually led to us creating or expanding this idea to create something called alternative group study rooms. So we took 6 adjacent study rooms adjacent to the sensory space, and we pulled the tables out, we pulled the task chairs out, and instead we put in bean bags, we put in a water bubble tube, some lamps that you see, there's white noise machine speakers in this room. And so we created what are really alternative group study rooms, places for students to come and work that aren't necessarily a task chair and a table, but are a little bit different. And here you can see some other pictures of the spaces. And so that also led to us creating a family room at the same time that we created the alt study rooms. We had been thinking about creating a space for families in our library over the years. There you can see some statistics that over a quarter of university students are parents, and most of those parents are women. And so this was something that we had been thinking about, and at the same time that we opened our alternative group study rooms, we opened a family-friendly study room. Now, when we started, we had these guidelines, very general guidelines that I had put together, sort of cobbled from looking around at some other institutions that had family friendly rooms, and came up with these guidelines. Initially, I adopted a sort of laissez-faire approach. In other words, left the room open, trusted people would mediate their use and it would not be abused. Unfortunately, within a couple of weeks of it being open in the spring, in the fall 23 semester, it got trashed one morning, came in, the room was just completely trashed by undergraduates overnight. And so at that point in time, we had to really strictly enforce that this room was only for parents or caregivers. And then we did not have any subsequent problems. But we created it using some of the furnishings from our sensory space that weren't really as successful as I'd hoped. And these were really items that are have more appeal for younger users. So for instance, a tactile wall with different things to touch and so on, or the assorted fidgets and toys, some of the other features that were in the sensory space but didn't get a whole lot of use. We put those in the family room, hoping to garner higher use. We also had some items donated from, for instance, my own children who had gotten older and no longer played with Legos as much, or the marble run. I brought those items in. And here you can see some pictures of the family-friendly room. It's off the hallway of our second floor. It's in a very high traffic, high visible area adjacent to a bathroom with changing tables in the men and women's room. We put in a play rug. You can see the tactile wall there, a small table, some wooden puzzles, marble run. That is our director's granddaughter there in the top right playing with the marble run. And so it was when it opened very popular, and it did see quite a bit of use. People were able they could drop in on a first come, first served basis, or they could reserve it here on our room reservation homepage. You can see the family room there at the bottom center position, as well as our alternative study rooms there that can be reserved. And it progressed very well. We had quite a number of users. We had people can drop in, so we wouldn't be able to count those folks, but we can measure the ones that chose to make a reservation. And in that first year, we had 127 reservations by about 60 different caregivers. In 2025 to date, we have had 116 reservations by 45 caregivers. Now, at first, that decrease can be a little bit discouraging, but I think I can explain it by our partnership with ECU's on-campus childcare center. We have a childcare center here at ECU that serves as a model training facility for undergraduates. Staff will supervise undergraduate students from human development and family science primarily to provide childcare for children. It's open to the public. As you can imagine, it gets quite a lot of use from ECU employees, but it is open to the public, and from ages 12 weeks until age 5, it is open Monday through Friday from 7:30 to 5:30. They also offer evening drop-off childcare, and that is where the partnership sort of originated. Was approached by the coordinator of that drop-off childcare program to inquire if we would be interested in the library, letting them provide drop-off childcare in the mornings on a couple of mornings a week, each week in the library. And I was thrilled by this. I thought it was a wonderful idea. And so it started in August of last year, 2024. And initially they were open only 2 days a week, but it was so successful last fall that they expanded, and now they offer it 3 days a week. The 3 days a week, 3 mornings from 9 to almost 1 o'clock. The family room lets there's staff there from the on-campus childcare center, as well as undergraduate students who will watch, provide care for these children that are dropped off while their parents attend class or study or do other things in the library or on campus. And it has been really, really successful. I've been so pleased with this. The statistics so far since August, they had 138 drop-offs during this academic year. It started off kind of slow, honestly. September and October was not a busy time, and there were many days where there would be no children. However, it did get traction as the year went on. And by the spring of this year, they started reaching their maximum threshold, which was 5 children in this family-friendly room. This room is a little more than 100 square feet, so it's not huge. So they did cap it at 5 children, which it was reached twice in February, 3 times in March, and then twice in April. And I've just been so happy with this. The ECU Childcare Center has also provided a bulletin board. They've used funding to purchase furnishings for the room, like a new play rug, some new toys. The bulletin board they've put up has the artwork from the children. It's very, very nice. The library installed blinds on the room because it is such a high traffic area. Sometimes it can be distracting with people walking on the outside. And so we did install blinds to sort of, cut down a little bit on that distraction. And here are some quotes from the students who have used it over the year. So this has been a really successful and exciting partnership. I think it's really making a difference in the lives of our students who have children and letting them have a little bit more freedom to focus on their study. So that is my lightning talk, and I'll stop sharing now. These slides will be available later, and I'll be available for any questions after all the lightning talks have completed.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mark. That's really some great information and very good work. Thank you for sharing that with us. Okay, our next presentation is Magnets and Messages, Creating a Student-Centered Feedback Board by Will Ritter. Will Ritter is the Public Services Librarian for User Services at the Z. Smith Reynolds Library at Wake Forest University, where he manages circulation, collection maintenance, and general reference services. He has over a decade of experience in academic libraries, including his previous role as director of the James Addison Jones Library at Greensboro College. Okay, Will, are you here with us?
I'm here.
Hey, Will.
Hello,
Okay,
everyone.
good. Let's get you. You go ahead and take the
Go ahead and
floor.
share.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right. I think I'm sharing.
You are. You're sharing. We
Okay.
can see your screen. I had to
I was gonna
unmute
say,
right quick.
it got rid of everybody else when I started sharing, so I can't see if you're giving a thumbs up or not. Okay, so as was said, I'm Will. I'm at the Z. Smith Reynolds Library. I'm one of the public services librarians. And so yeah, so that's me. And hang on just a second. I'm sorry. So I'm one of the public services librarians at Wake at Z. Smith Reynolds. And so I wanted to talk to you about a project that is sort of new, but it's been in different formats throughout the last, gosh, a few years. And it wasn't the original iteration wasn't started by me, but I think we've drastically improved it over the time. So I started at Wake about 3 years ago, and we started toying with the idea of doing some changes. So I'll tell you what it started out as. So the idea of the program, and it wasn't really a program when I started, but it was students were writing on a glass. It was glass that you could write on. It's still there up on the sixth floor, and so they started writing things that they wanted to see and feedback. And so this was kind of encouraged. And so that's how this idea started. And so we would get really specific feedback from students, and they just would write all over the glass about things that they wanted to see. And so we decided to take it from the glass board to what was turned into. We borrowed from another area of the library. We borrowed a cork board and started using that for a while, just to test the idea of whether this would work or not. And so students would pin their messages to the board. They would write on we were using what do you call those things? The due date cards from a while back ago, from years ago. The ones that were left over, we were putting those out for them to pin onto a cork board. And so I just wanted to emphasize this is good, can be, and for us very much was very low cost, very low cost. I mean, the board we already had, the cards we were going to throw away anyway. And so that was the way this started. And so we started, once we saw that students would share things, it started as one time during exams, we decided to do this. Once we saw that students were sharing more and more about what they wanted to see, and all sorts of things they were sharing on the board, we decided to actually start tracking it. And so in my area, one of the staff in my area, she started uh, basically writing down what people were sharing and keeping track of like how many people or how many shared things there were each month. And we started putting them into semi categories. And one thing right from the beginning is we wanted to make sure that everything was responded to. So, and quickly, I mean, within like 24 hours ish. Um, uh, so during the week, we make sure we get something out there the next day, even if it's just a meme image to a silly thing that someone posted. We get something out to respond to everything so that we're keeping it active. Because if they go a while and don't see a response, then the responses really help to make sure that people continue to post to the board. But anyway, this is how this started. And so for a while now, for a while we were using the cork board. Um, uh, and I'll share the iteration of the current iteration in just a moment. So why this matters. So we figured out that early on, even when they were writing on the glass board, we figured out that the students wanted to be heard about how they felt about the library, and oftentimes putting up a QR code or trying to pass out surveys or using survey software, that didn't necessarily always get us the responses. That wasn't, I don't know if that wasn't exciting for them. I'm not sure, but that just didn't get the responses that we wanted sometimes. And the library here, you know, is really a central location for students. Students really, and I think faculty and staff, from what I've experienced in the last 3 years I've been here, really, really like the library. They like the building. There's a real love for the library, and among the students, they love it as a study space. Um, and so they want to share in what's next with what we're doing, or whatever it may be. So this gives them a way to provide feedback, and if they say something goofy or post a meme, then their peers see it. I think that helps in getting responses as well, because they like to share ridiculous things. um, so why this matters, that's part of it, from what we've learned so far. And it's simple. It doesn't, there's a couple of Sharpies and some papers for them to write on and post. As I mentioned, really inexpensive. Weekly questions. We curate the questions weekly. So curate, I mean what I was talking about with categorizing them, making sure we keep track of how many are asked. Just to give you an idea, um, we get maybe 2 questions a day on average. Obviously, there are days we don't get any, but on average, we're getting like 2-ish questions a day. Sometimes it's a lot more during exam periods. It'll really go up. During the summer, it really goes down. But on average, maybe about 2 a day. So that's gives you an idea of how many we're getting. And that has been increasing. So that might be a little higher right now, actually. So I just wanted to mention how it does drive changes. The students, I think it's important with the board for them to see the changes, that changes happen when they talk about things. So suggestions they've made have led to changes. So they talk about furniture, spaces, and what they would like to see. We're renovating our study carrels, which are little rooms that used to look like you were in solitary in prison or something. Now they're renovating them, uh, and putting in wall, or I don't know what you call it, but like foam kind of things along the wall that help with sound, and also look a little more like you're in a space, in a desirable space. Um, and so they've also talked about hours. I mean, hours is, of course, at every library is a popular thing to complain about, and they do, and that has changed. I mean, we changed the hours based on that. We gave them more weekend hours based on their suggestions. Um, we've changed exam hours on their suggestions. So things happen when they even report like, hey, there's a toilet not working in the women's bathroom on floor 6. And, that goes to facilities and they fix it, where maybe that might have taken a while for us to find out otherwise if someone didn't report it. So those types of things as well. So it's anything from big things like hours to little things like a toilet not working. Um, and so it also elevates student ideas. Um, so for example, one of my favorite things that was posted when the vendor for the coffee shop changed, and we were looking for a new name for the coffee shop. And one of the students, and this is still my favorite one, and if you're familiar with Wake Forest's motto, overall university motto, then you'll know it. It's pro humana latte is what they wanted to call it, and I still wish that would have come in time for them to use it, because I thought that was the cleverest coffee shop name that we got, but as a suggestion. But yeah, so stuff like that, really goofy stuff that is actually a really good idea, what you'll get from this board. And the students, like I said, are very invested at Wake in the library, and that has helped a lot. I know that sometimes that can be a struggle. I've worked at places where there's not that as much of an investment, so it can be tougher, but here it's been really great with the students really being willing to share, which helped us get off the ground quicker with the board. But before I get into lessons learned, we have at Wake at ZSR, we recently got what we call an innovation grant. It's like $450. It can be more, but we only requested $450, and we bought a different board. This is the old board that you're looking at. The new board, do I have a picture of the new board? I do. So the new board is, if we go back, this is the new board. It's magnetic, so there's not the cork anymore. So the cork was sort of getting worn out with all the pins going in and out every day, and kind of crumbling a little bit. So it's magnetic, and that's helped. We also, you notice, bought themed cards for them to use. So there's flowers during certain parts of the year. There's Halloween shaped things during some parts of the year, like in October, for example, of course. So that's one way we've sort of personalized it. But lessons learned, we've learned that tone matters, quick speed matters with the responses. We're doing it as quickly as we can. We try to be as transparent as we can. When students ask questions, we try to answer not only in a reasonably quick way, but we also answer honestly. We try to be as honest as we can about what's happening or why something didn't work, or whatever their question is. In terms of what's next for the board, what I would like to see is theming, which we're already working on. So this would mean that instead of just students posting things and the board always asking the same question on, for example, Valentine's Day, we might change it out and change the header, and print it. We'll print it in house, so it won't be that, it'll be cheap to change it. Change the header for Valentine's Day, change it for Halloween, change it for the holidays, that sort of thing, and give it a more of a themed kind of thing, and maybe ask what's on your mind, 8 months of the year, and then the rest of the, 2 months we'll do something else. So that those sorts of individualized theming. I also want to collaborate with other areas, maybe use it for feedback for other areas. Maybe student government would use it. We have an ambassadors program with the students in the library. So there's student ambassadors that are specific to ZSR that might want to utilize it. They've already reached out actually to us about what we can do with the board. And also expanding it. So right now it's one board. It's there's no digital version. I don't know how a digital version would work, but that's something that we've really talked a lot about. Specifically me and my team and the staff person who does a lot of work with the board. So that's what we're thinking for the future. But right now it's a magnetic board, and yeah, I would suggest, if you're thinking about it, it's an easy thing to do, and you can see how it works at your own institution. And that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Will. That's great information. Lots of good ideas again. So, and like you said, easy to implement and get feedback. You all have come up with some good ideas. Okay, our final lightning talk is Empowering Students, AI and Information Literacy and Library Instruction by Chris Brown, Ashley Apple, and Sophia Dimitri. Chris Brown is the librarian for instructional and technical services at Fayetteville Technical Community College, where she works in the library's Technical Services Department and is part of the library's instruction team. She also serves as the library liaison for the FTCC Satellite Campus in Spring Lake, North Carolina. Chris received her MLIS from the University of North Carolina at Greensboro in 2011. And then Ashley Apple is the librarian for instruction and access services at FTCC, where she works in the library circulation department, coordinates ILL requests, and assesses collection development. She also works with the library's makerspace. Ashley received her MLS from North Carolina Central University in 2008. And Sophia Dimitri is the librarian for instruction and archives at Fayetteville Technical Community College, where she works in the library's archives and serves on the library's instruction team. She has in public libraries and previously served as librarian for public schools as a media coordinator. I guess that she has worked in public libraries and previously served as librarian for public schools as a media coordinator. Sophia received her MLIS from UNCG in 2016. So welcome, Chris, Ashley, and Sophia.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, sorry about the typo. All right. Let's see. So can you guys see it? I'm going to share it. Okay, sorry.
We can't see any shared yet.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Okay, I started screen sharing. There we go. We got it.
Awesome. Okay. All righty. So our presentation is AI and Information Literacy Assistive Tools for Library Resources. Our learning outcomes are to understand the definition of artificial intelligence, or AI, to recognize ethical use of AI in library research, to identify AI chat tools for library research, and finally to create effective chat prompts for research. First of all, what is AI? According to IBM, artificial intelligence, or AI, is technology that enables computers and machines to simulate human intelligence and problem-solving capabilities. There are three kinds of artificial intelligence. First, we have narrow AI. This type of AI performs specific tasks and doesn't learn beyond that. Image recognition, natural language processors, and image generators are forms of narrow artificial intelligence. And one example would be ChatGPT, or generative AI. Next is reactive machines, an AI that reacts to stimuli. It can make suggestions based on behavior. For example, what to watch next on YouTube videos, assuming that if one likes one thing, you'll like something related to it. That is your reaction. And finally, we have limited memory AI. This AI can store knowledge, learn from it, and perform new tasks based on that learning, which is very useful for making predictions. According to Adobe, trained on enormous data sets, generative AI recognizes patterns in that data and draws conclusions about what it's learned. Next is the ethical use of AI. There are just as many do's as there are don'ts with AI ethics. One of the do's is to understand your institution and instructor's policies on using AI. You don't want to get a perfect 0 on your next assignment or worse. A don't is use of AI to generate plagiarized works or claim them as your own. You don't want any unlicensed use of anyone's images. A do is Cite the use of AI-generated content in your work. You don't want to rely solely on the AI-generated tools for information or research. It's a tool, not a replacement. You should verify all information generated by AI tools like citation and articles, but you should not input copyrighted works for AI to generate new works based on intellectual property, like the Hulk dating Wolverine or something like that. You should finally respect the intellectual property of creators and copyrighted works. Don't think AI tools don't have biases, and remember, don't input sensitive information into these tools. You never know what you'll find as a result of those rabbit holes. All right. An example of, do you want me to use that?
Oh, yeah, you go ahead.
All
Tell
right.
me how we have students sign up. Yeah.
All right. An example of citing AI in academic work, according to the American Publication Association's rules for citing it, when prompted with, is the left brain, right brain divide real or a metaphor, the chat GPT generated text indicated that although the two brain hemispheres are somewhat specialized, the notation that people can be characterized as left-brained or right-brained is considered to be an oversimplification and a popular myth. And of course, OpenAI is cited here, 2023, and here is the reference. Like if, for example, you have APA style, this is a good one to go to. Or to next.
So this is Chris, and I'm going to discuss like how we tell students how they can use AI tools for research instead of, as Sophia said, a substitute for your research in the library. So we do have some examples here of what we tell students that it's okay to use academically. So we have the generative AI chats. We also have mapping, research and literature review. And we also show them some AI resources on how to find other resources and how to cite their resources. But for general AI chats, we have Perplexity AI, which is the one that we recommend that students use for research, because with Perplexity, you will see the sources listed with whatever information that they put out there for the AI prompts. But you also have OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, which is the most famous one. Then we have Claude, we have Gemini through Google, and we have Copilot through Microsoft, and then there's Pi. So those are the generative AI chats. But the mapping research and literature review. So we show students this one so they can find like other related research articles whenever they're in the midst of their research. So there's Research Rabbit, which is free, but then you have Connected Papers and Lit Maps. So they have like some limited free information on there, but then if you want like the full scope of the use of this of these sources, you will have to pay for it. And then of course, finding resources and citations. So you have Cite, you have Elicit, Insightful.xyz, and then you have Poe. So these are some tips that we give students on how they can use AI in library research. The thing is a lot of faculty members, we don't have like a lot of faculty buy-in at the moment because many do believe it's a form of cheating, but we try to, alleviate that fear, by giving examples on how students can use it. They can use it as keyword searches, summary of complex articles or literature reviews. We also tell students that they can actually use it for topic research help. Sometimes they have difficulty, breaking down, very broad topics like global warming, like what do they want to discuss with global warming, melting ice caps, flooding, information like that. And then also break down complex topics in articles. And Ashley will discuss outcome number 4, where we will actually show you how we have students have AI prompt practice.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, so when we give orientations based on AI, we do a prompt practice. First of all, we go over what's a good prompt versus a bad prompt, because the results, the returns you get will be based on how good a prompt you gave the AI. First of all, good prompts. Give me 5 keywords to research for a student writing a paper on the effects of social media on teenagers. This is good. We gave them a number. We told them who our audience is, and we told them exactly specifically what topic we wanted. We're going to pretend that you're a student in COM 231, which here at the public speaking class. You ask AI to do 5 keyword terms for writing a persuasive speech on the benefits of switching to EV powered cars. That's a good prompt. It's very specific. It tells you that you're writing for a student in a public speaking course. You need at least 5 keyword terms. You tell them what kind of speech it is and what the topic is specifically. A bad prompt is something that's very vague, like the 2 below. I need topics for a paper I have to write. Okay. Oh, you need topics. Specific topics, a range of topics. Give me keyword terms I can research for a speech. Okay, what's your speech about? How many do you need? So some good things to remember when you are giving writing prompts. You want to be specific. You want to get the context, who, what, etc. You also want to use numeric values and list your demographic and perspective. Okay. So this is just a link that we use in our AI orientations. It takes you to Perplexity, as Chris said earlier. That's one of the ones we recommend because it actually lists sources for the information it returns. So here are some things to remember. Always consult your instructor before using AI and cite AI use in any assignment or project. Instructors have different views, so this is very important when you start a class to address this up front. How do you feel about AI? In what capacity can I use it? Next, you always think of AI as explicitly an assistive tool. You don't want to use it in a way that it writes your papers or does the bulk of the work. It's a crutch and it's a tool. And finally, library orientations can teach new digital literacy skills to all. So if your library at your school gives orientations, if they specifically give them on AI use, we would highly recommend students attending those. And then here's our question and answer period. If anybody has any questions for any of us.
That's great. Lots of good information. Again, so many, I'm taking notes and writing things down. You all did great. Let me see if there's anything. I don't have anything in question and answer in the Q&A. Did anybody put anything in chat? I have a question for you all. How do students, do they know about AI when you start talking about it? Have they tried it before?
Some of them have tried it without knowing it because so much now is AI. And then others have used it more. And our main goal when we teach the AI orientations is to make sure they know how to use it in school where it's academically ethical and okay. So they don't get in trouble, you know, purposely they won't use it probably to cheat, but they don't know. It's kind of like plagiarism. Go to college, you know, sometimes you don't know if you use your own work that you've used before, that's self-plagiarism. So we try to make them aware and make it clear what is and what is not a way to use AI academically.
And sometimes they'll teach us how to use it, like how they actually use it. I'm sorry, this is Chris. How they use it whenever we're giving this orientation, like one student said she'll actually paste her assignment rubric into, I think she used ChatGPT, so OpenAI, and then she would like check to see like if she hit all the markers on the assignment rubric. So that was something that we learned, as another way that they can use it as a tool.
Okay.
We thought that was pretty cool.
It's like a checklist to make
Yeah.
sure that they're still following along.
That's great. Yeah, that's good. Well, we all have to learn how to teach with these new tools and help our students. So thank you so much. Let's see if we have any. I don't see any chats. And let's see, questions. No questions. Well, you all did great work today, and we really enjoyed those presentations. And thank you so much for participating and sending in your proposals. We appreciate it. And so I guess that will conclude this session. Oh, let's see, Claire, let's see, Alexis, Mark. In addition to your partnership with Campus Childcare Service, how else do you go about promoting your family study rooms? This is something I struggle with at my institution. Oh, yeah, maybe it didn't, but sorry about that, Alexis. Thank you. Thank you for putting it in the chat. So Mark, do you see that?
I do. That's a great question. I wish I had a silver bullet to make it super successful, but it's basically like promoting anything here on campus, going out there and talking to the stakeholders that would be most interested. With the family rooms, there's a pretty wide interest across campus. So folks in student affairs, as well as the College of Education, human development and family science, those kind of different areas. I've spoken to people in all those areas about the room in order to make them aware of it. And then I really think the word of mouth has been the best way to get the word out across campus, and how it has become successful and gained a lot of traction, particularly this spring semester.
Okay. Alexa says that makes sense. Thanks for your response. That's such a helpful service that you're able to offer. And yeah, it makes a lot of difference, I know, to your parents that are there. Does anybody else have questions? Let's see, maybe there's one more. Okay, I see it now. Alexis, your question. Open answered. Okay. Well, thank you all for joining us today. I think that has been a great lightning session, a lot of good lightning sessions. So thank you all, and I hope everyone has a good afternoon.